Salut mes tipsters et tricksters, bienvenue ma chaîne et bienvenue à un nouveau vidéo tips and tricks.
What have you got if you haven't got love?
As you may have guessed, I am in France. We decided to give up on England altogether after we heard that there was going to be more restrictions brought in and maybe even another lockdown. I know that's touch and go, but I'm not about to wait till the borders close and I can't escape and come with Val to France. So we decided to do it now while I can get insurance to travel and whilst I can cross the border on my visa. So here we are in France. It has been a bit of a roller coaster ride and it's made it very difficult to get content out, so thank you for being patient. Parce que j'ai dit pour un long temps maintenant que je vais faire un vidéo en français, il peut être aujourd'hui. So I will put the subtitles down below. I will make a lot of mistakes. I am definitely not fluent in French, but every time I come here, I try to speak as much French as possible parce que c'est une bonne opportunité pour parler français, pour pratiquer ma français. Donc, chaque fois, j'essaie beaucoup pour parler français avec la famille de Val. Ce sera un mélange en français et en anglais parce que la plupart de ma chaîne est les personnes des États-Unis, d'Angleterre, d'Australie. Mais je veux aussi parler français pour mes abonnés français parce que je sais qu'il y a beaucoup aussi. So today's video is going to be a video about something that I have been excited about for a very, very long time. Quelque chose que toute ma vie j'ai voulu faire. Et je sais pas le mot en français, mais it is picking wild mushrooms. The woods of Burgundy are filled with lots of different types of mushrooms, so we didn't have to go very far at all in order to go foraging. We went about 2 kilometers from Val's family home, and it took us a while to find some, but eventually we found a really good spot where we found all sorts of different types, pleurotes or oyster mushrooms, and of course lots of really beautiful little ones that we couldn't eat but were just so beautiful to look at. Some that look like this you can eat and some you can't, so we didn't take the risk, but just to be able to see them in their habitat was just really fun and really, really interesting. Here's Val holding ones that later we found out we could eat, but they didn't last. We didn't get to them quick enough. I was just blown away by how many different colors and shapes there are. Val's family has an entire book that is just filled with mushrooms that you can find in France, and we did manage to identify many of the ones that we had, but it was quite tricky, to be honest. I'm pretty sure the majority of them that we can't eat, but we did find some mushrooms, in fact, in the garden, which I think may be edible. So we're going to take those to the pharmacy and see if in fact we can eat them. One in particular I think is quite a delicacy and quite expensive in French supermarkets, so I'm really hoping that we can eat those. Maintenant, je vais manger ma déjeuner et après je vais aller au pharmacie. I have picked one to take to the pharmacy. I'll show you up close what it looks like. Looks like this on the top. It's kind of like caramelly flesh colored, but the thing that really gives it away, hopefully, is the underside. So see how the gills are quite spaced out rather than being really close together like so many other mushrooms, and its stem doesn't have a little ring on it and it doesn't have any other markings really. It's slightly like shaggy, I guess, but mostly it is kind of skin colored underneath. So hopefully it is the mushroom that I'm thinking of and we can eat it, because we actually saw this mushroom, or one very similar, yesterday when we were at Carrefour, and it was quite expensive. I've looked at recipes and things, and it looks like it should be quite a sweet mushroom. In fact, sometimes it's even put in biscuits and stuff. So I'm really, really excited, and I really hope I'm going to be able to cook with this because we have a lot. I found more, guys. We went out into a forest the other day looking for mushrooms, and we found quite a few, but also there wasn't a lot of each one growing, probably because it's quite a popular pastime here in France to look at. Hello. I'm being joined by Val's cat. Gourmet? Yeah. Yeah. Join us in the video. Come up here. Here she is. Say hello. She's such a sweetheart. Her name is Gourmet. Gourmet means sticker in French. En France, il y a beaucoup de champignons. Il y a 3000 types. Yeah, there's like 3,000 or more types of varieties in France, and many of them are edible. So maybe some of the stuff that we found in the forest was edible, mais ici, je pense qu'il y a du type de champignons qu'on peut manger, et c'est dans le jardin, en fait. So the fact that it's right here makes it obviously really easy to harvest them, and we can keep them really fresh and pick them just before we eat them. So I'm really hoping they're edible. This type I haven't actually looked up, I just spotted them while taking you to look at some other mushrooms. So you can see in the background, I'll pick this one's been eaten, but it looks kind of like a field mushroom. This probably isn't edible. In fact, maybe it is the same type as the one I'm going to show you, but a different variety. Or maybe not variety, what's the word? Like it's in the same family, but it's not the same mushroom. Because it is kind of similar in terms of the stalk and the shape and the gills, but it's a different color and the gills are a completely different color. So I don't know, I guess I'll take that one too and find out if we can eat that. Gourmet, viens, Gourmet. She's following me, she's like a dog. She's just so darn cute. She's on an adventure. So the reason that I think that these mushrooms might be edible is where they're growing. So they're growing under birch trees, and also over here is a pine, and in between we have the mushrooms. That's the perfect condition for milk caps. Yes, Gourmet, do you want to explain it? Faire une explanation de les champignons, d'accord? Tu peux voir ici le cercle de les champignons. Mais je pensais que c'est le milk cap, je sais pas le mot en français, but you can see they're like a browny sort of orangey color, sort of tawny I suppose, on the top. And then on the underside, I picked one earlier over here. Here you go, you can see the color here, it is like slightly caramel colored, and when you break the gills, I wonder if you can see on here, it's not going to show up, is it? When you break the gills, you can see a little bit in there, it has a milky sap inside, which is why they're called milk caps. So some of them you can eat and some of them you can't. So I'm going to take one of these to the pharmacy and see. As you can see, there's tons of them, so I'm really hoping that we can eat them because they're literally everywhere, and I've spotted some smaller ones growing in another part of the garden. So after we eat these, there will be more over there. And if you make sure when you pick mushrooms that you leave the base in the ground and that you carry them so the spores can fall out as you're walking, more will grow. So but just because we eat these doesn't mean that that's the end of the mushrooms, because these particular ones still have a little bit of grow time left. So let's see what happens. What do you think, Gourmet? What do you reckon? What? Tu veux manger les champignons? Je sais pas que c'est possible pour les chats.
2 hours later.
Yeah. Hello. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed, but I've got Gourmet to cheer me up. But I went to the pharmacy, and the tricky thing is Val had to go to the doctor, so I wasn't able to get him to help me translate. But basically, they were very busy because, of course, as soon as I walked in, when it was empty, a million people walked in after me and they got really busy. And they sort of said like they don't really have time to be looking at mushrooms when they should be serving people. But from what I understood, one of the mushrooms was maybe edible, but there's too many varieties that look similar that they wouldn't feel comfortable telling me to eat them, which was kind of disappointing because it's like on the internet it said if you go mushroom hunting and you take it to the pharmacist, they should be able to tell you. But I guess the types that I had, unfortunately, have too many other similar varieties. Donc, malheureusement, j'ai pas la réponse parce que je sais pas si je peux manger les champignons. Mais c'était très intéressant pour moi parce qu'il y a beaucoup de champignons. Near my house in Australia, there aren't that many mushrooms, so I saw lots of mushrooms I've never seen before, as you'll see in the video, and maybe some of them I could have eaten if I had someone to identify them, like maybe if we knew someone who was a mushroom expert, or if the chemist had more time. But unfortunately that wasn't the result today. But I still would highly recommend going into the forest and looking at mushrooms because it was just really, really fun to do. If you've ever gone mushroom hunting, or if you recognize any of the mushrooms that I had, I would love to hear in the comments. Obviously some of them are still available to me, so if I found out that I could eat them, that would be pretty cool. I never knew there were so many beautiful mushrooms with all different kind of identifying marks to them. Like I've only ever come across mushrooms that have gills, but these ones, like some of them were spongy, some of them were smooth. Like, yeah, the underside of the mushroom is really different to what I'm familiar with. Like every mushroom I've ever seen is like white or brown or gray. And then there's like red toadstools, which you definitely shouldn't eat. But yeah, there was like violet ones and purple ones and green ones and luminescent ones. And yeah, it was really, really fascinating. So that was a very cool experience. Mais je suis un peu triste que je peux pas manger quelque chose dans cette vidéo ou cuisiner quelque chose pour vous, mais c'est pas mal.
Later that same evening.
Okay, in fact, I have an update. It is very late, so apologies for the lighting. The camera's struggling to focus on my face because it is dark in here now. But I put this mushroom, if you remember, the really small one with the spaced out gills, on Instagram, and I got a message back from Kitty Busy, who is a pharmacist in France, and said to me that it looks very much like the mushroom, the mousseron, that I thought it was, and to smell it, if it smells like bitter almond, which I don't really know what bitter almond smells like, but I know what normal almond smells like, and it smells a bit like that. Indeed, it doesn't smell like a normal mushroom. Every other mushroom I smell has like a fungus smell, like the smell of mushrooms when you get fresh mushrooms from the shop. This doesn't smell like that. And we've looked at lots of pictures of things that you could mistake it as, and it doesn't look anything like those, to be honest. So in fact, it looks like maybe we are going to try a mushroom. I just have to say a really big thank you to Kitty Busy because she's honestly made my day. I was so upset about not finding a mushroom that I could eat. So thank you so, so much for messaging me. I have picked them and now I just need to clean them. So I'm going to remove all of the stems and I'm going to soak them in water, which is what someone said to do with these ones. It's a bit easier. And also they tend to dry out naturally. So if I add water to them, it actually rehydrates them, unlike other mushrooms which absorb the water too much and it kind of ruins the taste. So let's see what happens. Okay, so don't get too grossed out, but inside were a lot of little white worms, potentially maggots, which made me think they weren't okay to eat, but then I looked on the internet and this is basically the case with every wild mushroom. So I've popped it in a bunch of salty water. So I've already rinsed them a lot. I got a lot of them out, but just to make sure there aren't any hiding in there, I've put the mushrooms in salty water and I'm going to leave them to soak and hopefully the worms will drop out of them and then I'll give them another rinse before we cook with them. But the reality is, like, vegetables have critters in them and that's all there is to it. And you know, if they're eating them, they must be good. Okay folks, there we go. Coming nice and close for you. We are now bug free. You know there's no bugs in there because they're little white bugs, which makes it hard to see, but they have little black faces. So it's easy to spot them. If you look right in the gills, there is nothing. That black spot over there is dirt, not a bug. I already checked. So yes, they're rather beautiful. They kind of look like umbrellas. From all accounts, these are absolutely delicious, so I hope they taste good. I guess we'll find out. I'm going to do them with a little bit of wine, some garlic, some butter, and some parsley, and the parsley is grown in the garden as well, so it should be very fresh and delicious. Okay, I have cooked it in parsley and vegan butter, and we have done toast and rubbed garlic on the top, so let's see how these taste, and hopefully they're mousseron, and tomorrow we're not horribly ill.
Allez.
Ça fait pas de bruit parce qu'elle enregistre. On va faire du bruit.
It's good, it's very subtle, the flavor.
C'est bon.
C'est bon? C'est très bon en fait. Alors mes chéris, c'est tout. J'espère que c'était intéressant. C'est la première fois que j'ai parlé français sur ma chaîne. Donc j'espère que c'était bien. I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the video and any suggestions for future videos. Suis-moi sur Instagram and check out my Patreon. It is linked down below for extra content and perks for different tiers. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.